Okay, it's live streaming somewhere. I'm on YouTube. It's setting up. It's going through and I'm live. Excellent. Okay, it's live streaming somewhere. I'm on YouTube. Okay, awesome. Okay, so here's the link. Somebody tested for me. So if I do it, I'm just going to hear my own echo. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Sudha Jamte, and we are here at NeurIPS virtual posters, NeurIPS 2022. I've been there at live and coming and sharing all the awesome AI research that's happening. And I'm here with my amazing team from Global South in AI. And these are brilliant researchers who went through the double-blind review process and got their poster selected. I've been talking a lot about this. What you see in my background is our poster that as organizers of Global South in AI, we created 2 posters and presented at live. And one of them was about our overall learning. And Global South in AI is about adding inclusivity to language AI. What does that mean? We have low resource languages, hundreds and thousands of them that you don't hear about. The newest one from chatbot, the ChatGPT from OpenAI, if you talk to it in English, it is going to continue a conversation. That's their claim to fame, and it does do that. I tested it out, asking it how to help a dog cross the road. And it had a fun conversation with me. But if I switch out of English, it's not going to understand me. And it's going to assume things, it's going to say whatever, right? So it's a very Western, English-centered cultural assumptions in the language. And so by what we did with Global South in AI, we've got people from 12 countries who went, many more people went through this process. The ones who got selected came from 12 countries representing 8 languages. As a secondary research, what we came up with that was, what you see here is we need inclusive construct for gender across all languages because that seemed like a common theme. So that's what you're seeing in our poster behind here. So I'm not going to talk more about this particular poster here because there are amazing poster sessions happening right now. So I need to take you there. And joining us here are 3 of our authors, and they are actually online at NeurIPS, but agreed to find time to talk to me here. So let me bring Sonia Tehra Sahib. Sonia, are you available to talk right now? If you're
Sure, I am available.
Okay, so do you want to introduce yourself and then we'll take you to your poster?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Tahir Sahib, but my nickname is Sonia. So I'm an assistant professor of management information system, and I have 7 years experience in management information system, and I have PhD in STS, Science and Technology Studies from RPI, Troy, New York, and my expertise is on the ethical AI, artificial intelligence, and data science, specifically in healthcare. So this is about my background, but about my poster, should I tell you about the poster? So the
Before you got to the poster, you've been humble about one thing. You are one of our 4 area chairs because
yes.
We are here, Global South in AI virtual posters, yes. And 12 of these posters got selected among many others. And we did this as a double-blind process, and we didn't tell the world who our area chairs were.
Yeah, I was also the area chair, and we, reviewed, papers that were related to, ethics of NLP, natural language processing, so it was a blind review, and 3, reviewers, blindly reviewed the posters, and then we selected the ones that, we thought that, is more appropriate and well, developed for the conference. But the other papers, we also gave them, the papers that were not accepted, we gave them enough advice so they could improve, and hopefully next year they, attend the conference again, So we didn't let them to get, disappointed, So this is what we did. But unfortunately, I hadn't time to attend, the conference NeurIPS, but hopefully next year I can see, I can have active, participation. So for the poster, you want me to talk about the poster now?
Yes, you are filling in for somebody as area chair. You rejected a lot and you selected a few.
Yes, I'm filling for somebody else that because of family issues couldn't, attend. So the paper that, I'm going to, present is about, gender. Should we go to Utopia or?
Yes, we can go to Utopia, but tell a little bit about the poster 1 second.
Okay.
And then I have to find the poster on this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it doesn't show. Sorry, I cannot switch. So let me show it here. How about that?
We can do that.
Yeah. Let me see.
And can I add you so you can share?
Yeah, please.
Let's do that. And I just went and shared this on.
Okay, it works. Utopia works.
Yeah, Utopia works.
Let's go to Utopia.
Okay, then I'm going to give you the option to share. You give me the Utopia link for your poster. I will go right there. 1 second. So Utopia is the online world that NeurIPS has created, and it's like a little virtual metaverse. Okay, I'm going to go share my screen, and here I am.
Sure.
Yes, I'm giving. Okay. And it's good if I'm able to just look at your poster directly. Where am I? Here?
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to explain one thing because I promised people who are watching that I will be taking them around to amazing posters. So this is the virtual world, and Utopia is the software that NeurIPS has decided to use this year. And so when we go to any of the sessions, I have not turned my camera on because I have my camera on Zoom. I have my audio on here, and I can go from one poster to another. And here I see Sonia. So I go here. And I see Sonia already there. Okay, I need to turn my mute. Okay. I muted myself there. Okay, Sonia, you can talk. I'm just going to mute myself. Sorry, I'll just mute myself on. Okay, fine. Unmute there.
Yes, I am here. But it
okay, Sonia, you just need to explain. I'm going to mute myself and listen as one of that.
Okay, so this poster is about gender biases in reading language. For example, when it comes to some jobs, employment or jobs, they use a specific gender pronouns. For instance, when they want to talk about doctor, they use he, or when they want to talk in reading language, or even in spoken, people use, for example, for teacher or for nurses, they use she. So in order to reduce these gender biases in reading language, in reading text, in Marathi language, we see, this poster talks about how we train data sets that instead of using these gender pronouns such as she and he, uses the training data set that uses they when it comes to specific jobs in order to reduce gender biases. So this poster is really important in order to reduce these gender biases by using an unbiased data set that that doesn't use she or he, and instead uses they as a pronoun. So pronouns, yeah, this is the main specific theme and the concentration of this poster.
Okay, so I thought that word.
I think you should remove yourself from.
No, I got out of there.
Okay.
So because my mic was shared in both places.
Yeah.
So Marathi is this language from India.
Yeah.
And Sonia is filling in for the author who couldn't join live. So she was talking about this. So did they take training data and replace all the he and she with they? Is that what they did to train this model?
They haven't, they haven't done yet, but this is they propose, but they're gonna do that, So
Okay.
for the training data set, they're gonna do that. Yeah. So
Okay.
instead of he or she, they're gonna use they, so in order to see that how these gender biases can be removed.
Okay, so in the entire language, they
Right.
they will say they, and then see if the model itself is unbiased, and now it doesn't say
Yes.
a
Yeah.
doctor is a male and a nurse is a female, and they have to test it out as the next step.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's their goal. And I think that was a really interesting topic. We see that in many, for example, my language, Persian, also is is the same, but we do not use a specific, pronouns for a specific, jobs. We don't say she's a doctor. Okay. We use this neutral language, but many languages, they have the problem as Marathi language. So it's really important that these, countries that their language uses a specific gender pronouns for jobs, they use neutral, pronouns as well. So I think this is a sample, if this works, I think that other countries that have the same, other languages that have the same issue, they can adopt the same, strategy by, training data sets that are neutral, gender neutral, yeah.
Thank you, Sonia. So one of the things, as I said, when I got started, that what you see in my background is inclusive construct for gender. And we found that in our exercise working with Global South in AI, this gender inequality seemed like a common thing across all languages.
Yeah.
Our approach with Global South in AI was, yes, there are less data for many languages. That's why it's called low resource languages. We cannot wait to build a data set. What if we get people to come and build applications that is important for them to solve a problem that they're passionate about? As part of it, let them build a data set. So that was our approach. So that's why we said, give us a reference application. And so that's what you would see in all our different posters. So coming back to the gender construct, Susanna Raj, who is one of our other program chairs with me, Yash and Pariya Saran, couldn't join us here today, but she is the actual brain behind this inclusive construct concept beyond gender, beyond everything. So we brought that as secondary research, and we said, what if we actually do some secondary research instead of just being program chairs and organizers? We are researchers, we love this stuff. So we said, let us take 3 language from the 12 languages that people have submitted posters and ask people to define the word for women in their language. And so my mother tongue is a language called Tamil. So I use Tamil. The other, and that's from India. And then Yaini Yankee, who is also here with her poster from South Sudan, her language is Bari. We asked her to say, what are the different words that define women? And then we enlisted another researcher from Brazil. His name is Tiago Avance Felipe. He actually said in Brazilian Portuguese, what are the different words for women? And that's how we came up with this. And we found that the word indirectly has it has ageism buried in it. In Bari, it was interesting that the word for somebody who is not got a child or somebody who's a widow is the same word, which means the women is defined. So that means she doesn't have somebody to take care of her. She doesn't have a male to take care of her. And so the word for women is tied to the man, or that's the assumption. And
no,
so
in Persian language is not like that. We don't use she or he, we just use they. That's the way we do. So yes. I think other languages should adopt the same.
Yeah, I would love to follow up. So the whole goal with this is we would follow up and do more research and build this
exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. I think that's the first step, toward this, challenge, this problem, And I think that the paper was really interesting and a very, influential step, toward reducing these gender biases in reading language.
Yeah. So I did not know about Persian. I had heard in Ugandan language that they don't have this concept of he or she. Everything is neutral.
Yeah,
And
you
so that's
totally
like
true.
a
Yeah.
wonderful society. And the other thing we found in our secondary research is whatever we do, when it is translated back, so we try to remove the bias. So we say, okay, we say they, and so it removes the bias. But when it is translated back to English makes it a he or she for everything.
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
there is a cultural Puritan thinking that is baked in the language that starts showing up. So our poster was about how we need to define a construct for every word, and this
Yeah.
we were thinking about women in various different languages, in various different emotional states, in different cultures, in various different settings. This list that you
Yeah.
see next to me here,
Yeah.
that's our proposal. So with that, I want to see whether I can bring somebody else on. Thank you so much, Sonia. I hope you can stay on. And then while we are visiting the Topia session for somebody else, maybe you should ask question, because my mic is going to make that double noise. So I'm not going to
Oh, okay. Okay.
ask question there. I might
stay here.
yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to go? Muskan has been around. Sundar, if you're not in a hurry, can I ask Muskan to go? Time zone wise, also she's been also very patient. Yeah. Muskan, I'm just going to bring you here. So introduce yourself, go off mute, introduce yourself first holistically, and then you can talk about your poster and we can share the Topia link. If you put the Topia link here, I will go back and share that. Oh, I see your Topia link is right here. Okay. So, but then you're going to, once we go to, so introduce yourself, and then once we go to the Topia link, you can start explaining your project. And especially I was talking about how we need to bring reference applications for different countries, and yours was the one that came to mind for me. So I will let you explain that to me. Go ahead.
Most certainly, yes. Thank you so much. So, hello world. I am Muskan Mahajan. I am a student researcher who is very interested at the intersection of natural language processing and education, particularly language acquisition. In India, there is a growing importance of English language fluency because at the end of the day, it somewhat influences a person's job and employment prospects along with their social acceptance in a way. So, this is what my project was directed towards, making language learning more accessible for the Hindi and the English speaking youth. English being code switched Hindi and English spoken by 350 million speakers all across India. So, without further ado, let's hop into Topia and take a look at the poster.
And you're also a high school student, I heard, right?
Yes, I am. I recently graduated through high school. In fact, the motivation behind creating this Bella is that while in high school, I volunteered and then ultimately led a program called Each One Converse with One, which is an English language acquisition program. So as we grew in scale, we realized that it is difficult to induct more and more language teaching mentors.
Yeah.
And this is where I thought that we need a personalized language teaching agent, something that a chatbot can achieve.
Yeah.
That we do develop Bella.
Okay. Let me check whether, 1 second. I want to make sure that the YouTube link is here. People can see it. Yes. Okay. They are able to see us. So I'm going to go back to Topia. And let me share my screen. I'll mute myself as soon as I got in. Okay. Where is Topia? Okay. I'm just talking to Muskan, and I'm just going into Topia. I'm going to mute myself here, essentially. Let me see if I have an option of not allowing a share. No, won't allow me. Okay. I enter the world and I'll start echoing, and then I'll mute myself here and you can start talking, Muskan. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the 3D world they've created from NeurIPS. And Bella Bot, I'm right here. Okay, it's not echoing so much, so I'm happy. I'm going to plonk here and wait. You can explain, go off mute and explain.
All right. So I got off mute and thankfully there isn't any echo. So I'll start my screen share. Hopefully I couldn't share the poster. And
You want to do that? Because I was showing the screen of us at NeurIPS, and it shows your screen. Are you able to see that?
yes, I am. So the screen that I'll be sharing for the poster, that would be within Topia, not Zoom. So we
Okay.
could have, yes.
Okay. Okay. Bella, bot for English language acquisition. Hi, Suresh.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Okay. Can you see this in a bigger view?
Yes, so we've got the expand button at the top right of the thumbnail. Left to the mute, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Muskan.
Okay. And every time. So this is Bella, bot for English language acquisition, a language learning chatbot for a youth that largely switches their language from Hindi to English. So I have already discussed the motivation behind creating Bella, which is the growing importance of English language in India. So the objectives that I defined for myself while creating Bella was that I need to mentor these English language learners. So it was my responsibility to survey them and understand what it is that they were looking for from a language learning chatbot. And what I realized is that their expectations are very varied. They want translations to their Hindi and English phrases. At the same time, they want to improve their listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills through passages, videos. Uh, and when they're done with their classic English language learning tasks, they're also looking for a friend. They're looking for a buddy who they can converse with in English. So I realized that if I were to accommodate all of these expectations, I would have to divide the operation of Bella into two modes, a tutor bot and a buddy bot. So from the given flowchart, you can make out that the design of Bella is as follows. That when a user sends in a query, it passes through a natural language understanding pipeline consisting of a language identifier, an Indic language translator for Hindi language, and a machine translator. After the passing through the NLU pipeline, the user queries is in a standardized English format, and then we decide whether the query is related to English language learning or not, after which it is routed to a tutor bot and a buddy bot where it is processed accordingly. So I don't know if we're at a time constraint, but should I also elaborate on what happens in each of these modes?
I would like to hear more. I just clicked on the Topia and I got out of your poster to somebody else's poster, so I had to get out. Would you be able to share your poster right here? Then we can just see the poster in full, if that's not a hassle.
No, not at all. If you could give me the screen sharing access, I'll start
I'm
sharing.
giving you access, yes. So then we can see the full screen here and we can just, you can show us the poster.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And thank you, Andrew and Suresh, for joining us. So we have like some of our poster authors joining us, and Muskan is explaining BellaBot. Okay, thank you.
Yes, so here we have the poster for Bella, what for English language acquisition.
You could continue from what you were doing before.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
So if you could make out from the flowchart of Bella, is that we've got the user query passing through the natural language understanding pipeline. Then it reaches a binary classifier wherein we try to classify, is the query related to English language learning or not? Now, how does this classifier work? This binary classifier is built on top of a transformer architecture, which is trained on general language queries and English language queries. The dataset was created using Reddit, while as one class which was related to English language learning queries was custom created by me. If the query is related to English language learning, for example, if a user asks for a word meaning or a translation, then it is routed to the tutor bot. If it is related to general chit chat with the kind that you perform with a friend, then it is routed to the buddy bot. In the BuddyBot is basically a large language model, the very famous GPT-3, which is used to conduct general chit chat with the users. With GPT-3, you can talk to it about almost any topic. However, we kept it restrained to music, food, and environment so that we could prevent the extraction of personally identifiable information, for example, Elon Musk's social security number, to a certain extent. Amazing. We have discussed how the BuddyBot works. But let's see the TutorBot. TutorBot has 10 language learning intents associated with it, something that I gathered after the SET survey. This intent classifier is also multi-class classifier based on top of the transformer architecture. If the intent classified is give me a word of the day, then the helper function associated with that intent will create a response and the bot response will be generated. If the intent that is classified by the classifier turns out to be phrase translation, then the appropriate helper function comes into play and generates the response. And this is how the first prototype of Bella works.
So you said it was for English, right? So that the translation was into English, but since they are Hindi speakers, they are speaking Hindi, but typing in English Latin script, right? So your data set was all, the new data set that you had to create was English script, right? Did you do a mapping to English?
Yes, precisely. We conducted a mapping to English, and the way we were able to accommodate the Hindi text but written in the Roman script that you're referring to was by using a transliterator, which is a part of the natural language understanding pipeline. So, for example, if a person were to ask, "Mujhe tall ka meaning batao," and write it all in the Roman script, then ultimately what would happen is that the language identifier would recognize that there's an element of Hindi over here, and the language transliterator would turn all of that into Devanagari script. Now we will pass this Devanagari, and the Devanagari script is the script that Hindi is written in. After it is converted to the Devanagari script, we will pass it through a machine translator, something that I got already open sourced from Hugging Face. Okay. And from there, it is converted to your pure English. And that is the standardized form that is ultimately fed to the mode classifier.
Okay. What was your biggest challenge in this?
The biggest challenge, honestly, the challenges they kept unraveling as I started doing the tests with the mentors. The first one, the mentees. The first challenge being, we just can't expect there to be a standardized form of English, because you have got mentees from so many regions of India using this chatbot. Then you don't expect the user input to be the same. And our natural language understanding pipeline is just not robust to all of those queries. So that is one pain point that we have to work on. The second pain point is to make the BuddyBot and the TutorBot more robust to hate speech, especially the BuddyBot, because we are currently seeing examples of it generating toxic text. So that would be one of my future focuses, to fine tune my model on more adversarial examples, so that Bella does not end up creating a lot of controversy on Twitter.
Yeah, that's the
Can
big.
I ask a question?
Yes.
So thanks. So what are you going to do in the future? What would be your next step to extend this, work that you just did?
Yes, I'll be happy to dwell on this. So my first priority would be to extend the support of Bella to integrated grammar drills, the kind that you perform at school, because it currently only supports 10 intents, as I mentioned earlier in Bella's design, and my objective would be to add one more. The second intention that I have for future is something I have discussed already, and that is adapting the natural language understanding pipeline to the regional variations of English. And I've described the third intention too, which is fine-tuning the BuddyBot on adversarial examples to make it robust to toxic user input. So I hope that answers the questions.
That's awesome. I have to bring other people in. This is very helpful. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube or where I shared this at Global South in AI group on LinkedIn, post a question. If you see this later also, Muskan can come and answer the questions for you. Any of our authors can come and answer the questions. And those of you who are already there on Topia, go and, go enjoy it and see the other people, right? Okay. Okay, thank you. You need to stop the share, Muskan. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring Sundar. He's been waiting patiently. So thank you, Sundar. If that's okay with you.
Hi, Sudha. Hi, everybody.
So where is this noise coming from? Andrew, can you please mute
your? Oh, sorry.
We're all trying to parallel process. It's okay. We are all on.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And hope I'll get to talk.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, Sundar. Introduce yourself and then tell us about your paper.
Sure.
We can, if you give the link, I would like to go to the actual link on Topia.
Yeah, I placed that link a little earlier. It's on the chat.
I see it. Yes. Because I want to take people to the actual NeurIPS virtual session, and we can always see your poster and talk to you, but this is special. We are live from NeurIPS online, right? Yes.
Absolutely.
Tell us, thank you for joining, and one of our authors from our double-blind peer review process. I'm very honored to be talking to you all. So Sundar Narayan, talk to us. Tell us about yourself first. And
super. My name is Sundar Narayan. I'm a ethics and governance researcher and a practitioner. I do consult in the area of AI governance and AI ethics. One of the things of my focus is to look at the risk and ethical equations that needs to be considered in developing AI models. How can risk considerations and ethic consideration be embedded in them well in a project level to an enterprise level. My focus on this particular research was about automated mistranslations. It was primarily about language models where they are used in automated translation. And the focus was more on, will mistranslation lead to misinformation? That was the thing that we were actually trying to evolve. And the assessment was focused on what kind of mistranslations can happen in language models and how can it impact misinformation. I actually picked up multilingual language model, which is No Languages Left Behind. This is a model that was open sourced by Meta. Actually announced it early June. Early June is when they are actually published it. This language model can translate to and from 200 languages. And that's the focus of this language model. One of the things that is useful in this language model is that it has ability to deal with low resource languages, including some of the languages in Global South. And that was the primary reason why I wanted to.
Do they do that using like zero-shot language? Is that what they do?
Yeah. Zero Shot is embedded as part of this. They actually started this project in 2017, 2018, and they built it up at multi-layered, and then they released this in June or August this year. For me, the focus was on mistranslation. So mistranslation can typically happen because of multiple reasons. It can happen because of the language having sarcasm, or even having domain-specific content, or content which is missing words, or even transliterations, or even dialects that are used. The idea was to see if we can pick up a data set and then test them to see if mistranslation can lead to misinformation. So I picked up examples of data set which contained sarcasm, ambiguous and domain-specific news headlines. So I focused on news headlines, so it becomes easier for us to determine whether that leads to mistranslation or not.
Yes.
The samples were used, and then I used a NLLB pre-trained model from Hugging Face to translate them. Once it is translated, I evaluated them. About 27% of them were incomplete translations. So I eliminated them. These are translations which did not have meaningful references of the translation. Out of the 73%, I examined which of them were leading to misinformation because of mistranslation. There were about 23% of them. If I have to speak at a category level, sarcastic, ambiguous, domain specific all had 20 to 30% of those instances which resulted in misinformation because of mistranslation. A clear example for that is that if Trump was roasted for supporting Tony Laren, ignoring the actual victims was the news. It got translated into my language of Tamil as Trump was shot for supporting Tony Laren instead of actual victims. The meaning is very different. Now, we may think that this is only specific to one language. We need to look at it very, very differently because Facebook has integrated it into its own set of apps into the meta world. Facebook has declared that they are using it for 25 billion translations every day on Facebook, Instagram, and newsfeed. When this flows onto the newsfeed and monolinguals who are speaking one language read it, they're going to read it in their language. It's going to lead to misinformation.
Yeah.
Why am I speaking about monolinguals? There are 40% of the world population who are monolinguals, and I'm sure a platform like Meta will have a significant population of monolinguals who are using Facebook as a mode for them to get to know about many things, including news. Some of the things that I focused on as recommendations is that there are policy-based recommendation and practice-based recommendation.
Sorry, Sundar,
Yeah, go ahead.
we will get to the recommendation, but I want to understand something you said, that Facebook is using this in billions of translations already, and you were able to find it has a percentage of error. So I don't know what the size of your data set on how you can, scale that up, but what percentage of what's the accuracy?
And can you explain more about the data set? Tell us more about the data set as well.
Can you tell us about the
Let me go ahead.
performance question and then go back to the data set? Thank you for that, Sonia.
Sure, sir. I'll explain about the performance. So the model is accurate for about 70%.
Okay.
Right, and this is also subjective. What I'm speaking about is a holistic level. When you look at it from a category performance level, it is much more lesser, right? When I say category, I'm speaking about sarcastic content or content which is domain-specific content, as the case may be, right? So the model performance is subjective to the level at which it is trained. The core problem is Tamil is one of the low resource languages, and the translation levels are very limited. Here, the focus of the data set was politics. So it didn't have enough training content, it appears, and you don't have an evaluation mechanism to test for effectiveness of mistranslations. So that's the core problem that the paper was attacking.
And when they did zero shot and said that it understands the language, and since I speak Tamil, and I did not know that was your mother tongue too, it's one of the oldest languages in the world. So there is literature and documents and poetry and material from the temples, but not in English.
The understanding of low resource is very, very confused in the world of machine learning, because the low resource is considered basically based on digitized content, not based on real content. At this point in time, because English is a convenient language of use for digitization, it appears that English has more content than other languages, but that's the impression. But leaving that aside, because of the slower pace of digitization of language content, languages like Tamil, Telugu, or even Malayalam, or many of the Indian languages, and many of the global South languages, including some of them from Latin, some of them from South Asia, are all low resource language resources where they don't have enough data set for them to train it on. So that's the bottom line issue there.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to talk about the data set question that Sonia was asking about?
Yeah, to just get back to Sonia's data set question, what I tried to do was to populate a list of news headlines which were sarcastic, which were domain specific, which were ambiguous, and which were general headlines. I populated these independently. These were focused on it having them. And once those were populated, I filtered them for only political news headlines. The dataset was focused on political news headlines because the impact of misinformation in political news headlines is much more higher than the rest. So that's how the dataset was compiled, because these were very focused. I would say these were attack modes of exploring the language model. So these were very focused on gathering the data sets which contain sarcasm or domain-specific content in it.
Okay. Do you want to go and see
Yeah.
the video link? Yes. This is wonderful. I mean, I like research that looks like you've just scratched the surface. That's the beauty with everything we're doing with Global South. We just are like getting started, and it's just amazing when we see that. Okay, I'm going to go back to Topia, back again. Better reload back, and I'll mute myself if it is going to do the echo thing, guys. Okay. Here we go. Here I'm dancing my way in. This is for those of you who are watching and joining in remote and looking at the live stream. I've just entered Topia, which is the online world for NeurIPS virtual posters, and I'm here with the Global South and AI team. Okay, Sundar, take it away. I'm here just going to plonk myself and listen to you.
Yeah, I've just shared my poster. You may be able to expand it.
Yeah, I did that.
Awesome. So the focus here is again, like I said, news headlines that comes on to a meta platform. It gets automatically translated from one language to another. And then there are some portion of it which leads to mistranslation, and those mistranslation gets displayed on the news feed of monolinguals, and that results in misinformation. This part of research, mistranslation leading to misinformation, is studied earlier, but those were studied in the context of having a human in the loop in validating them, not necessarily from, it's primarily post-editorial kind of approach for them to validate the news content, but it was not from the perspective of models which are auto-translators. So here, the problem that we are speaking about is one, platforms like Meta are not news media. Second, platforms like Meta auto-translate content where they don't have human in the loop to validate the translations practically, right? And monolinguals who know one language will face the challenge of seeing or hearing news which are not actually true. And that's the point of focus here. The statistics are already there on the poster. The thing that I wanted to bring attention on are two parts. One is the kind of recommendations that I've proposed here. One is, and the second part that I want to talk about is the future work that I'm working on. The recommendation are three parts. One is, when you're actually reading a news feed, the least thing that you can do is to have an option for the user to suggest that this translation seems to be incorrect. That's the way that the platform can gather multi-stakeholder feedback on something that they have implemented, right? That's a feature that's missing currently. Second is that there should be a mechanism to track content which has the higher potential of mistranslation. leading to misinformation. If you're able to track that content within the platform also, you're able to see how additional mistranslation can occur in that environment. Third, and more important thing is that there should be robust mechanisms to cross-validate, specifically in low resource languages. Generic cross-validation mechanism may not necessarily serve for all the languages. Language-specific cross-validation mechanisms may be required for ensuring that adequate attention is paid on impact of mistranslation. Coming back to the second part on what's the future work, I'm expanding this work. I'm expanding this work to create it as a project where I want to collect data set of mistranslation-led misinformation on news focused on 10 to 12 global South languages. I am not a specialist in all the global South languages, but I'm going to be doing this in collaboration with other stakeholders from Global South in AI and other friends. The idea is that on a weekly basis, if I'm able to list out about 50 to 100 news articles, and we're able to see which of them lead to mistranslation and compile them as a data set, this data set by the end of a year may be very, very useful to detect mistranslations. That could be another way to limit misinformation. That's about my project, and I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Thank you so much, Sundar. I'm sure we are going to have a lot of follow-ups from people who are watching the stream, come back and post questions. So for those of you who are coming back later and watching this, ask your questions and Sundar will be back to answer that. I'm hoping that, I'm very thankful for some of these poster authors who are able to come back, join us on Zoom. Not everybody is able to join us because of time zone and stuff, right? So I appreciate that. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to go back. We have Andrew and Yaini Yankee here. Let me bring her. Yani, are you here? Are you on the Topia World? I saw Andrew went to the Topia World. So if you're able to join us live. Okay. Andrew, are you able to join us live here on Zoom? Is that okay? And if you can't, that's okay, but we heard your voice when you came in. So I'm assuming at least on audio, you'll be able to join us. And then we can show your poster on Topia. You can explain that to us if that's okay. Otherwise, I give the link for your Topia poster and I will just go directly there. Okay. Thank you so much, Sundar. I really appreciate you joining. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Okay. So Yaini and Andrews, anybody, one of you are able to join here directly? Then I would like to see your, at least ask questions here if it is possible. And it's been a treat for me and Sonia to, come and ask you guys directly, right? Instead of just only on Topia. And I also want to see the link for your session so that we can directly go there because we've been hopping around a lot. Okay. Okay, looks like they are on Topia, so I'm not seeing them here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in straight to share my screen back with Topia and give you the experience. Before I wrap up, when I got started, I was like, oh my God, this is such a big world and it's confusing. And I was actually thinking, how are we going to, find all our different authors? But you know what, as I started looking at this, I just realized there are so many other sessions. So let me go see here. Curriculum learning for improved femur fraction classification, scheduling data with prior knowledge and uncertainty. I don't know what that is. I'm just here. I don't see the author here. Use of reason-based convolutional neural network model for analyzing unmanned aerial vehicle remote. Wow. Machine learning model for early detection of Irish potato diseases based on crop imagery. I saw one thing, talk of crop imagery. Okay, it threw me out. I'm going to go back. I mean, I believe so it says that hardware acceleration warning, your browser does not support WebGL or hardware acceleration is turned off. This metaverse will run in a lower capacity. Okay, no problem. I'm still going to go in and crawl slowly. And you know what? They have this funky thing where I can start biking. I'm going to bike, guys. Isn't that cool? Okay. Okay, so towards Afrocentric AI, this is amazing. I wish I could have heard this author. Can you explain aha moments in artificial intelligence, deep learning methods for biotic and abiotic stresses detection in fruits and vegetables? Look at this one. I am definitely going to follow up. And the reason why I'm showing you this, I mean, the authors are not here and we are in the tail end of our virtual presentation timing, is to show you amazing papers so we can follow up. Gender-based evaluation in Luganda English machine translation. So we're going to go follow up later. Transformer-based Kenyan Miss selection is one of our Global South in AI paper from Ali Hussein. I don't know if Ali Hussein is there. If you're here, or maybe I'm muted. I'm muted there on the global, on the poster. Ali Hussein, if you are able to hear me, I would love to hear more about your poster. Yes. I'm coming from a Zoom, which is live streamed to the world with a few of the Global South in AI posters. And I know yours is one of our Global South in AI accepted posters. So I just thought maybe you can explain your work.
Sure. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So yeah, welcome. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. So let me tell you.
We can hear him.
Oh,
okay, good.
Sorry?
No, it works now. We couldn't hear you. Now it works. Okay.
And can you share your poster? Will you be able to share a poster? I think there's an option you can share your poster. Then
I am not sure how to activate this option at the moment.
Okay, no problem. We'll just see this where I'm seeing this. I'll just show that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, so Kenyan elections have been like sort of a politically turbulent time in Kenya, with sometimes violence being instigated and some violent events happening. So this idea of a dashboard came from Lawyers Hub, which is a Kenyan-based a Kenyan-based organization that focuses on policy and technology. So we were able to develop a simple sort of a simple, efficient, and quick tool that allows us to be able to detect certain things. So let me walk you through the pipeline. Right, we ended up working with Twitter data since Twitter data was easily accessible, and we could easily access it using the Twitter API. And then we sourced this Twitter data, and we were able to use a pre-trained language identification model to look for tweets that have certain hashtags related to the Kenyan election. And then we were able to identify which tweets were in English. It would have been great if we were able to fine-tune models on Swahili or Kenyan English, which is sort of incorporates some Swahili words and some English words. But this was not possible, so we only chose to work with the English language tweets, and then we utilized two approaches. So the first approach was for accounts that are tweeting in the English language, we were able to extract the account metadata and sort of construct and train a decision tree based model that detects whether or not this account is likely to be a bot. So from this aspect, we're able to sort of guess which accounts are likely to be bots and which accounts are not. And then from the other side, tweets that are in English, we were able to pass it through a pre-trained hate speech detection transformer and pre-trained sentiment analysis transformer, and sort of try to guess if a tweet is likely to contain hateful material, and to guess the general sentiment of tweeters during election time. So yeah, this is basically our pipeline.
And how did you define hate speech? Because that is a controversy by itself.
So this is, since we're using a pre-trained model, we had to sort of rely on the training that was done by the model itself. We were able to test, like we tested the model before deciding to use it, and if you use like explicitly, like if you use offensive language, if you use language that is hateful, or language that incorporates like racial slurs or such type of language, then the model would automatically detect it. Of course, if we had trained our own model, this would have gave us like sort of more control to define what is and what is not hate speech. But since we're working in a resource and time constrained environment, this was not possible.
Yeah. Sonia, do you have any questions? Okay.
No, I don't have. Thank you.
Okay. So if you were able to train your own model and define hate speech in your model, what would be different from a cultural context from Kenya, different from an English trained model from the Western world?
I think my Kenyan co-authors would be sort of more informed on this, and sadly they're not currently present. But so they would have like a more more general idea. I'm from Egypt myself, so it's a bit of a different context over there.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm always curious when I look at language AI that is done, beyond just the English world, and that's, when we're talking global South in AI, that there is a cultural context to everything, which is different from what the ready-made model gives. That's why we kind of build the model out, right? Anything we get as an API, we just can't use out of the box, right? We are not there. So that was my curiosity question. But this was wonderful. Thank you so much. And I hope, I will get to see where you're taking this, where it goes. And this is like, especially for people who are listening in, this is one of those things that I was talking about where we at Global South in AI, we decided to focus on applications that are important for local populations. So Kenyan elections and tracking that was more important than building a generic data set for Kenyan language, which is all encompassing. And we'll never get to this place where we have that much volume of data that can make it mainstream, anytime soon, but there are problems that needs to be solved. So this was a classic example of that. So thank you so much, Hali. Hope you enjoy rest of the NeurIPS virtual posters. So we're going to, move out from here and go look at something else. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sudha. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we are almost at the tail end of the virtual poster session. So I saw Andrew and Yanni just walked into the Zoom. So if you guys can share a Topio link of your poster, that would help me. Look at how my hair is getting cut off on this end, and my face is vanishing, and that is work that makes.
And why it shows you black and white?
Sorry?
Your face is black and white. It's not colorful. You chose that setting?
No, I didn't choose any setting.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a black outfit.
But your earring,
my earring is golden, and I'm proud.
Yeah, it's black and white. Yeah, it's black and white.
Oh. So there is so much more work that needs to be done to make it inclusive of my face in the computer vision world. So that's for another time. So Andrew and Yaini, if you're here, I would like to see your Topio link. Hi, Andrew. Are you willing to come online and talk to us and tell us about your project? Is Yaini also here? And if you show the Topia link, I would like to go there, and then maybe you can talk to us there and tell us what you're doing. And I was thanking you for the input on the Bari language. Andrew, I didn't know you had contributed. I was thanking Yaini, definitely added her name to the poster right here above me on this inclusive construct for gender. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear you. Oh, good, good. Now I just need to find out a way to turn on the.
No, I think I had to turn off Topio, so that was.
Let me turn on the light.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can come online, join me, and where are you joining?
Where can I find the YouTube?
No, if you
the Topia link actually.
Okay, so if you go,
maybe you can help me.
I can help you if you give me the full. If you type the name of your whole talk here, I will go to Topia and find it for you.
Sure.
Or the other easiest
one
thing,
minute.
Yeah, the easiest thing we can do is I will go to the affinity workshops on Global South in AI, go to Global South in AI workshop, which is where we were live, right? And then in there, I'm able to see all of your presentations, right? So I can find your poster right. I am happy.
Sure.
So yours is the machine translation model for Bari.
Just one.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share.
Yes, that is it.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. So I went to, for those of you who are watching and who have access to NeurIPS, or you're going to come back, I went to NeurIPS, looked at the schedule, found the affinity group Global South in AI. This is where we presented last on the 28th. So the live presentation of our talk is right here. And all the different posters from today's affinity session, all 12 of them are here. So you can actually get the Topia link. Where is this? So this one, what we heard today, right? The one Sonia was talking to us about is, you can see the actual Topia link, you can see the poster. So this is the one I'm going to. Andrew, I could not add your name. I've added Yaini's name. And here it is.
It's okay. It's no problem.
Yeah? Okay, so I can go to Topia from here. It might create an echo, then I will have to mute myself, and you can come to Topia and talk to me there.
Okay, so I just navigate to Topia?
Yeah, to your own presentation. I'm going to come there. Here, I'm there.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Machine translation for Bari.
1 minute, I am. Okay, let me enter the world. I'm entering now. Just 1 second. I should be almost there. Almost there.
Actually, I saw you a while back. Yeah, I saw you a while back.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
Am I? Okay, good.
Able to log
Okay, now I'm there.
I'm going to plonk myself and sit down.
I think I've.
Okay, you can start talking.
Okay. Everything okay now?
And wait, I don't see you here. I'm going to move a little bit, so I'm not.
Oh, okay. Just let me
Oh, Paria is here. I saw Paria come in. Let me just tell her to come to
I think, I think I'll just follow you to you. I think that will be easier way.
Okay. Machine translation. I'm just telling Paria, or one of our program chairs, I just saw her walk around as a character here.
Sudha, let me walk to you. Okay, now I am walking to you. Let us see.
Okay. So hopefully Paria will be able to join us. Sonia, maybe you can come there, and Yaini also can come.
Ine? Ine there?
Yene. I always call her Yaini. She doesn't correct me.
Let me send her a message to turn on
Okay.
her microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully, Sonia, if you're able to join, you can also join the party right here at the machine translation model for Bari language. It feels so
Okay,
small
good.
to hear my own.
I think, okay, good. I think she can hear me.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share for 1 minute so that I can find the poster link I can share with you. So, anybody else can talk. I'm just going to mute myself.
I think,
Andrew, if you want, you can talk.
Sorry,
start
my
talking.
system hanged. You know, I was going from here to Ethiopia and it hanged. Sorry.
it's okay. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, we do. I hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Wandu. I'm one of the co-authors of Machine Translation Model for Bari Language. One of my co-author is Yene Yang Kinyika. She's also on the line. So, okay, maybe she'll say hello later. Okay, first a bit about myself. I am a lecturer.
Andrew, I just stopped the share of my video because I think that was the problem. I think it's not your connection problem. So if I'm on video and here, that's the problem. I'm just going to tell Paria to come to Zoom.
Oh, I should just 1 minute.
Yeah, so the easiest thing we can do is you can share your actual poster and talk to us. Let me find your poster, okay? Back again.
Sure. I think I found it. And
okay, I have it here. I'm going to share the screen. Share your poster. And now you can talk to us, tell us about this. And sorry about the technology, guys.
it's okay. It's okay. I think I will just turn off my video briefly to make the internet connection a little better.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to turn off my video too. So bandwidth. Yeah.
Okay. My name is Andrew, as I said, and Andrew Wandu. I'm a lecturer of language and linguistics, specifically linguistics. So that's my interest in all this. Now, our model here, what we want to do, me and Ine, is to build a language model for Bari language. Here in South Sudan, we have about 64 different groups and different languages, and Bari is one of them, about 10% of the population. most of the languages here are low resource languages, and so there's no standard orthography. We picked Bari language just because it's like the dream of diversity, and it's our mother tongue, so it's like the closest place to start. The problem here, of course, is under-resourced, underrepresented, underrepresentation of low resource language, and machine translation is our obvious problem here. Now, what we want to do is to create the model, but first to create the data set. And to do that, I think everybody knows the process of accumulating the data sets to make a parallel corpus of Bari to English. Before I get into what the benefits are and why we want to do this, just a little bit about Bari language for just some background. It's one of the languages here spoken in South Sudan. There are about 1.5 million speakers in South Sudan, about 500,000 in diaspora in Uganda, in South Sudan, and in Sudan rather, and all over the world. So about 1 million speakers. The problem here in South Sudan is literacy. English is our official language and the language of instruction, but literacy is very, very low. And most people obviously know their mother tongue better. So our idea is to make mother tongue more accessible, I suppose, so that if material more available in their mother tongue, it would increase literacy. Now, people already speak their language, and so you might ask, if they already speak their language, what is the need? Why do we need to do this? Personally, I come from a background of language teaching, education, and there's so much you can do when your language is written. You can write poems in it, you can write laws in it, you can text people online, you can write emails, and things that you cannot normally do in languages. And so for us, this is just one way of building interest in local languages. People speak it, but it's not given that prominence. And we feel this is an exciting way of getting people involved. So even though the product at the end of the day is the data set and is the language model that we will use for machine translation, and for us academics, we want to keep building that model and to keep improving it. For the social value we see is the inclusivity, bringing people on board, getting excited. Even right now, hello?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Andrew, we can totally hear you. I have a question for you. You were talking about how it is
Sure.
useful to have a local language. So for those of you who are joining us now, Parya Sarin, who is one of our program chairs, has joined in. So say hello to Parya. She's going to be on mute.
Hi.
Hi, Parya.
Sure.
So one of the things we are doing is we are just having a couple of our poster authors who are able to join us time zone wise, schedule wise, come in and explain their posters. So we did a few of these already. And the way my brain works is I'm always making connections across, time zones and languages and across the globe and industries. So Andrew, as you were talking about this, why you need your language in a local language, so it allows people to write poetry and law and chat, was amazing to hear, because we had Bella Bot presented by Muskan, a high schooler from India, teaching people to speak English, but they were Hindi speakers, and they were chatting in English script, but using Hindi language. So they were speaking Hindi, words were Hindi words, but it was written in Latin script. And so she wanted to build a whole translation model to get people to learn English was the goal. So it's very fascinating for me to see that. But I wanted to take a step back. I am not familiar with Bari. Yani is the one who introduced me to it, and I hope I will be able to learn and visit you guys one day. Especially with her whole Go Girls ICT initiative, I've always want to go there and see all her IoT work from the girls there. But tell me, like, from where I sit in Silicon Valley in US, we hear about the 64 ethnic groups and languages of South Sudan. And then I see in your poster that this Juba Arabic is largely spoken. So give us a little bit context of the landscape of languages that is out there before we come to Bari. And you told us why Bari. I got that point. That will help us to understand this in context and maybe make a connection with other places.
Sure, thank you. Just some linguistic context. When we always mention this number 64 languages when we talk about South Sudan. In South Sudan, there are two major language groups in South Sudan. There are the Nilo-Saharan, what's called the Nilo-Saharan language group. The biggest one is the Nilotic languages. So I would say about 80% of languages in South Sudan are Nilotic languages.
When you say 80%,
for context, our population.
Sorry, Andrew, when you say 80%, are there 64 languages? Sorry.
We have about 10 million. Our population is about 10 million, about 11, 12 million. So, and 80% of those 10 million people, they speak Nilotic languages.
Okay.
Now, Nilotic is divided into Western, Eastern, and Southern. It's not really important, but Bari is what we call an Eastern Nilotic language. Other big languages in that family are Maasai language from Kenya, Turkana, Samburu. So those are the other Eastern Nilotic languages, our closest relatives actually. Other Nilotic languages that people might be familiar with are Dinka and Nuer, which are the biggest languages in South Sudan actually. Dinka and Nuer, Shilluk, Luo, Acholi, these are all what we call Western Nilotic languages. So Bari is one of the Nilotic languages, and about 10% of, I would say about 10% of the population, maybe 1 million are Bari speakers. And this includes all dialects of Bari. We didn't put this in our poster, but Bari has about 7 different dialects. So in South Sudan, sometimes when people say Bari, they mean just one dialect that's spoken in Juba here. But for me, myself, we sometimes use it to mean the language family that includes many 7 dialects. So in our poster there, we mentioned that Juba Arabic is actually the lingua franca of Juba and actually South Sudan. Now, Juba Arabic, from the name, you can tell it's not an Arabic language, it's a Creole. It's a Creole based on Arabic. So 80% of the words of it are Arabic, but the syntax it's very different, and it includes a lot of actually Bari and local words. So it's a Creole based on Arabic. It would be the most obvious South Sudanese language to work on. Actually, it would be the most obvious language to be a national language, because it's the only language that everybody speaks and unites everybody. But the problem is it has a lot of political issues involved, and so there's no orthography for it, and nobody writes it. People just speak it, and even if you want to develop it, you will face a lot of resistance from both sides, either people who don't like Arabic or people who think it's a lesser language for some reason. So there's a lot of resistance for us. I hope this clears up the linguistic.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing for me when I got started with this whole Global South in AI and tried to understand different languages, because I come from India. We have 22 official languages, and there are like thousands of languages, not dialects, thousands of languages, each with our history and literature and richness of culture depicted in our language. And so there's a whole movement going on in India to take 16 Indian languages and create translations and create the tech support structure to create language translation and models for connecting back to English. And that's called AI for Bharat. And so when I hear about the 64 languages of Sudan, I was like, that's too simplistic. What is this 64 round number? Very math-friendly number. It doesn't make sense.
To be honest with you, you will find other countries. I don't know how it is in other parts of Africa, but in East Africa, we kind of have this tradition. Every country will have a magic number for you. In Kenya, the magic number is 48. They'll always say 48. What 48? 48 tribes, 48. In Tanzania, they'll say 70 something or 100 something. But you are right that the truth is it's not so clear.
Yes. So I don't know where that number comes from. I'm sure it's some kind of Western lens.
Where it comes from, if you're very curious, where it comes from is and I'm sorry if this goes too back into history.
No, I love history. Yeah. Language cannot be separated from history.
Sure. At independence, okay, at least for Kenya, Uganda, and South Sudan, at independence, you basically define who is it that is a member of this country, which is a sad history because before independence, people used to move across borders all the time. But after independence, it was like frozen. Okay, from this date, if you're on this side of the border, you belong to here and belong to here. So these become like the biblical groups of the country, so to speak. So 64 comes from, at independence, 1956, the ethnic groups that existed in South Sudan. That these are now the South Sudanese official ethnic groups. And from there, people assume that every ethnic group has its own language, which is it's not so clear, of course, sometimes because dialects and people change. So that's where the 64 comes from.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I saw, thank you so much, Andrew, because we cannot understand the whole concept of global South in AI and adding diversity is not just about, hey, we don't have this set of languages, let's build language models for, this set of languages. Because it is global South languages, it comes with, this whole interwoven with history and a lot more cultural nuances that are lost to the world at large. And even amongst us, when we start comparing, it's amazing how we will, we'll find some common link. That's our hope. But also we will support the unique fabric of each language. So thank you for that conversation. So coming back to your model, Yaini got dropped out and she came back. So I want to see if Yaini feels like talking to us as the, author of the paper too. Then I would love to hear her voice. Andrew's a beautiful picture of, the language tapestry of South Sudan. Wants me to go learn one of your languages at least and come and, meet you guys. So Yaini, if you feel like talking, you're welcome to say hello. Otherwise, I have a couple questions and then I'm going to wrap up because we are streaming this and been here for a while. Our official poster session timing. Why is it echoing me again when I have nothing else open? Okay, so I'm just closing everything else, guys. So it should not have anything else echoing here. Okay, so I'm not hearing from Yaini, so I'm not going to call on her. If she feels like she can jump in anytime. Paria is not going to be on audio, but I just wanted to show her here. I don't think she can come on video also, but I want to thank her for her work with Global South in AI before we wrap up. This has been an amazing experience.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, Yaini. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
So we are just getting ready to wrap up. So I was thanking my fellow program chair here for finding time to come in and say hello to us. She's been supporting us, and you all know her, especially from her work with Slack and the posters and our website, globalsouthinai.org. So Yaini, Andrew did a very nice job presenting your context of the poster and the company, and giving a context of the language and stuff. I have one question related to the poster itself. So maybe you can introduce yourself and then answer that question before we wrap up, if that's okay with you. You want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Yine Yenkinika. I'm from Google's ICT initiative, and on this particular research. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Totally, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I was kicked out. Okay, Yine Yenkinika. I work with Googles, and on this particular research, we are doing it together with Andrew from University of Juba, and I'm glad that he did a great job.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So I have a question on your poster. So I heard about the importance of doing this
Yes,
topic.
please.
What was your biggest challenge in getting to this poster, even to get to the stage of the poster? What was your biggest challenge? So I'm going to share the screen, refresh it for everybody.
I think apart from no, I think up to this stage there was no big challenge, because I think this is part of the work that we daily do at Googles, of translating our ideas into simplified images for people to at least understand what we are trying to communicate. So it was not hard or tricky. And also looking through, because we tried to look into some of the text languages, like some of the sample text we could use for our particular data sets, which has been interesting, like really very interesting, trying to capture all that information. But I think the biggest load is ahead. I think we have to now move out of our comfort zones and be able to meet the relevant people we need to be part of this research or part of this learning, and see where it leads to. So I think we'll have to do quite a number of community reach outs to get some concrete facts to make this research a reality.
Thank you for that. You also have a
Welcome.
sentence here in the poster which says majority of the women in our communities are illiterate. Interpretation of basic policies that affect them are simplified.
Very true.
Yes, I have a question related to that.
Very true.
Yeah, in my background here
Yes, please.
is the poster that we presented at Global South in AI at the NeurIPS live session that showed let me just come back on video. Instead of talking, you can see what I'm fading out of here, so you can just see the poster. It's struggling to capture me, so
yes.
yeah. So Yani, you can see your name in here because you contributed to understanding of definition of the word women in multiple languages. So we did Bari, Tamil, and Brazilian Portuguese. So, and that seemed like a very important piece in your
yes.
In your
I can see, yes. I've been seeing the poster all over.
yeah.
And
So talk to me about this aspect of your research, where you said that women are, most of the women are not educated in your community. Interpretation of basic policies that affect them are simplified. Is that simplified in Bari language? What was that? What are you simplifying by doing this research? Elaborate on that point here.
Yeah. The simplification of policies, what we are referring to is, okay, in South Sudan, I think the biggest number of school dropouts and people who don't go further in their education are women. That's one. And even for those who have gone to school, most of them tend to stay at home. So with time, there is normally a tendency of them losing touch with even what is existing. But interestingly, or something that is very interesting, is almost lately, anyone can either afford a smartphone or at least a very basic phone. So simplification of policies, I'm basically looking at, as a country, we normally produce so many documents, be policies, be constitutions, and normally the conversation is around women in the communities, women being beneficiaries, women knowing their rights. But interestingly, most of these documents are always in English. And of course, most of the people who are engaged are always the women who can read and write in English. So you realize we leave out a very big group of women who can't read and write English. So sometimes the implementers go as further as hiring translators to make sure this information is passed on to the women. So it's like the implementers of this kind of projects or constitutions or laws normally will depend on the locals to see this information is translated. But the belief that we have is with this, if we create, of course, this the Bari language data set, we want it to be an open model where so many people can contribute to it, and we see how it can be as inclusive as possible. And we could use it as a basis to actually now build models for the other existing language groups in South Sudan.
This is amazing. This is amazing. Like I said, this whole inclusive construct for gender was one topic we were presenting as second research that came from looking at your posters and working with you all. So this is such a ground truth that English is the language, and uneducated people are not going to benefit from even understanding what are the basic rights and laws of the land. It's amazing. So I wish you well for the project because it has a bigger scope, not just to bring the language to
Sutha, we can hear you. Yeah, Yan, can you turn off your audio, please? I can hear Sutha. Yan, can you turn off your audio, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Sutha, sorry, we couldn't hear you. Can you tell again? Sorry.
So what I was saying is, with the work that me and Susanna did with the poster, which is secondary research from the work that we saw from these 12 accepted posters, was the common thread of gender equality. And it is one thing to say gender equality at a very high level, and then to hear Yaini talk about that women are not educated in age, if are uneducated, which means they don't know English, then they don't know the benefits of their own law in their country. It's just too shocking. So I wish you well on what you're doing with this language translation, because it has a bigger, nobler purpose. I also, I said I make this connection across the globe and multiple things I'm working on. So one of the things that I heard from Professor Avanci, Tiago Felipe Avanci in Brazil is, in Brazilian Portuguese, they are having an effort to decolonize their language. What that means is they have their existing language, and he's a lawyer, so he's focusing from a law perspective. And they said that the way the laws are written are very formal, coming from the English world or the Portuguese European world. And so they want to make it into simple language that common people in the country can understand, so that they can benefit from that law. So it resonates with me because it's a similar concept. Here in your case, it's English and you need it in local language. In their case, even the Brazilian, that when people know it, is little too uptight and they want to decolonize the language. So there's a lot of beautiful things we can do with language when now in this global South world that in AI that we are going with. So I thank you so much for your time, and Andrew for giving us the context and helping us understand this. This is beautiful. Suresh just joined us. Suresh, we are almost wrapped up. Since I saw you here, I want to see whether you want to explain what your poster is about, and then we can wrap up for the day. This is being live streamed onto YouTube and shared on LinkedIn at the Global South in AI LinkedIn group. So if you have the bandwidth for it, Suresh, we can show that, or I can just show your poster right here for people since you're here. Suresh, do you have bandwidth to come introduce yourself first?
Sure, Sudha. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I have a few minutes. I'll take a few minutes to share with the poster board that I have put together. I am the author and the co-author for another two of the posters, but it's a great opportunity to be here. Don't take it lightly. Like to congratulate everybody who is part of this particular process and who've been selected for presenting here. So it's an awesome opportunity. So let me share the poster board.
Shall I share your poster right here?
Yeah, that'll be nice. So that
I have the teaching dance to AI. Is that what you want to show first? Do you have two?
Sure. This is nice. Okay. So the problem statement is, there are a lot of dance that from the Indian culture, there is a lot of dance and traditions that happens. As me, this paper is presented with Smriti Suresh and myself. Smriti Suresh has been a dancer, and when she goes through the dance process, it is hard for people here to really interpret what it actually means. Each of the hand gestures means something in the dance. And so the problem statement clearly shows, all those hand gestures does not mean much, or they do not understand what exactly is meaning, but actually they're actually telling a story of, the ancient folk stories or mythological stories and things like that, right? The goal we set out for us is to see if we can close the gap and connect the ancient traditions to make sure people understand, what has been communicated through the art form. So the idea of what we are trying to achieve is, the first step is to build a data set. And so, what we attempted to do is each of those hand forms or gestures has a name, and also it has a English. We are calling it in English, but obviously it can be translated to other languages too. But it means something. So the idea of this particular AI is to collect the data set for the hand gestures and what it actually means. Now, sorry, I think I was hearing an echo maybe. And so the next step is to, once we have this data set collected, we would build the AI system which will look at the dance form and be able to communicate the story that has been presented through the dance. So what we have done here is, we have collected a very, very initial data set. we have given a form to the data set. And then, we definitely like to collaborate with others, basically to collect the hand gestures, what it means, and make sure we have a data set so that the machine can be trained to interpret the dance form. So that is the scope of this particular poster. It is to teach the AI, the system to dance, right? To understand and interpret the dance.
That's beautiful, Suresh. When you originally presented the poster, not the poster, when you started out with the abstract, it was more like a sign language data set, which is what we are seeing on the right? It is called Pataka, and it means clouds or forest, right?
That's right.
And so having that image and a context to understand what it means, right? But
That's
now
right.
you're saying this is the way the Bharatanatyam dance is done is a drama, and it is telling a story. So now you want to do a bit more, right? Other than understanding the sign language aspect of it, now you wanted to understand computer vision as the dance is happening.
That is correct.
Right? That's where you're going. It's beautiful. We are short on time, so I want to go to your other presentation, which I think is in a different place,
yeah,
right?
Please.
Let me find you again. I'm basically, for those of you who are just saying, where am I finding this from? I am going to NeurIPS, to the affinity posters, and then in there, all the different posters that you saw today are all right there. So I'm going to open this other one. Is called Tamil Kuttu, method and process for creating data set for Madras Tamil.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Andrew loves your poster, Suresh.
Oh, thank you.
It's high praise coming from them because they set the bar on how to visually beautifully do very clear posters. Okay, so slang AI for Tamil language here. This is our last session. We are last poster we're going to see, and then we're going to wrap up. We're already running late, guys.
Wonderful. So in this particular poster, so there is the current AI systems can translate, one language to another language, and there are multiple languages. There's language models to translate those languages. What has been missed, or what has not been taken account for, at least from what I've noticed, is all the slang that is happening in a particular language. So in this thing, what I'm doing here is I'm building a Tamil slang data set. So Tamil is a South Indian language. Now, but that slang has gotten into a lot of movies and day-to-day words. So in this poster, they're saying, even though this person is saying something, it says, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? I mean, it is like, if you do not know, this movie is Rush Hour. So, it's a totally different, way of talking and, trying to understand. So it's basically that, right? So if you're going to a particular country or a city, they may express certain things for each of those languages. For instance, tearing a paper in the Tamil language, they would say it as dar. This may sound like tearing a paper as well.
Oh, dar. Even I saw it. I know Tamil, but I did not know what was dar.
Right. So they say, I can speak in my language, but they say, dar and paper kili, right? Yeah. So something like that, right? So it's actually how it sounds is actually the way they use it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, but the current systems will not understand, maybe the system will understand tearing means, it means something, right? Yeah. In a particular language. Or for instance, the way they say thanks is thanks, right? I mean, so this happens in rural population, and it happens in certain segments of the population. But what happens is the AI is not trained right now to interpret these things. The idea of this particular project or initiative is to build a data set similar to the other one, right? There is a lot of data people have produced in YouTube and other things, but it's not in a form that we can use it to train a model. So the idea of this particular thing is similar to, you have a word, the slang word, what it means, and likely we'll have a sound audio of that particular thing as well, right? So that we can train an audio model to interpret what the person is saying in the slang of the particular language. So both of these posters are very generic. It is not particular to a particular language, but it's very generic. But that's the first attempt for us to get world.
That's fantastic.
That's it, Sudha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suresh. This is beautiful. I can see myself using the slang Tamil.
Yeah.
Kuttu. Does the word Tamil kuttu mean something? From why it was called Tamil Kuttu?
It is actually the transformation of the actual word. I mean, in Tamil, they say kuttu songs, means it's a different, it uses all different slang words in a song. So that's why we call it as kuttu. Kuttu is a word that they use for it.
Okay.
It's basically a slang.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, guys. I've not had a chance to go back and look at your questions out on LinkedIn. So we'll come back over the next few days and next week also to just come back and look at this. And based on your feedback, what particular posters and topics you want to collaborate on or learn more, we can maybe bring them back. We host this thing called Weekly Wednesday speaker series on Wednesdays morning at 9 o'clock here in Silicon Valley, which is evening 18-hour in Nigeria and Europe. So maybe we will bring some of these and continue on a discussion. Maybe we'll get to collaborate. I'm not at all happy at the way my hair is getting cut off in this thing. And whoever is watching this, if you're into computer vision or the Zoom people who are building the background, you need to work on this. So with that, I am going to wrap up. First, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you, everybody, for joining the recording. Thank you, everybody, for the amazing posters, especially, all our area chairs and NeurIPS for giving us the opportunity, and all our congratulations to everybody who presented the poster, and to my team, Pariya, Yash, Susanna, for hanging in there and getting started on this amazing vision. So this is so beautiful. We're going to get more than just translation. We're going to get the richness of cultures and across all the countries. It's 7,000 plus languages. So I hope to work with you all on some of these. I hope you get to collaborate with each other. Somebody who's working on any of this related topic, maybe you can collaborate with any of these authors here. And I hope to see more research going forward from here. Thank you, everybody. With that, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you.